How's it going, everyone? This is PC here, and I am joined with a few people here.
Hello.
Hey, how's it going? This is Jin Infinitus here.
And I got Mr. Crusher.
Hello.
Uh, I've got Naya, of course,
Hi, everyone.
and Andrew.
Hello, is this thing? I know. Oh, hello.
So we just finished watching the Five Nights at Freddy's movie. Justin's already seen it before, so
Yeah, I've seen it a couple days ago in the theater, and
yeah, it's been.
we've got lots to say here.
Oh yeah, we got a whole lot to say because, I mean, I was honestly surprised by like all the cameos that were in this. I didn't see Markiplier at all in this.
He was originally going to be that security guard in the opening, but due to scheduling conflicts, he wouldn't they couldn't get him in. He was busy working on his adaptation of another horror game called Iron Lung.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, hopefully he'll be in the second one.
He has to be. He's the king of Five Nights at Freddy's.
Maybe. We'll see.
Come on, Universal, you got this.
How much of the game do you think it follows?
I think it's one of the closest to. I mean, for a film adaptation, it's like 50%. There are I have seen some fans who didn't like it as much because of they like it's so differentiated from the games, like in terms of the how much of a threat the animatronic characters are, and how
I noticed
the
that.
lore has changed.
Yeah, I noticed that as well. Like, I mean, we know that they're dangerous. I mean, we did see a bunch of kills in this.
Oh yeah, we did.
Yeah, we have.
Yeah.
But I was surprised by just how, like, it was mostly just, us seeing the Mike's dreams and not really much of the pizza place, seeing what's going on. But apparently they can attack you while you're asleep, like Freddy Krueger.
Yeah, and apparently, they can cut through skin. Like, really, the only one that was able to cut through skin is Foxy because of the hook. I don't understand the other animatronics able to do the same thing.
I guess they're biting or scratching.
So
I don't know.
I don't know. But, I mean, what do you think, though, overall? Like, do you think that the movie succeeded your expectations, or like what was your expectations going into this, guys?
I was expecting it to be, okay. I'm just a casual fan of the series in general.
Same.
Here.
Hey, yeah, like in general, I do see why some fans would get turned off by this film. Like, it's not like the lore is just and not exactly like the games.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, it's kind of like most
adaptations. That's one of the complaints I have with this. Like, I don't know if it's trying to be different, like if it's trying to have like a movie universe or the game universe. But
I mean, it's still clearly doing its own thing, but I think the way they went about it just doesn't make any sense.
Yeah.
It's kind of like most adaptations. It's like they're telling their own story. It's not going to be directly true to the original source material. Like, it's probably going to be a little different,
Yeah, but for me, as a casual FNAF fan myself, I see this one. This one is a very good adaptation. Even though the plot is all over the place, the plot is all over the place, but at least we finally got a movie that the fans were demanding for years.
Oh yeah, I mean it's
thankfully
it's certainly enjoyable in that aspect. I mean, because there is a lot of Easter eggs. I mean, especially stuff from the games, like
not to mention cameos.
And a
bunch of cameos.
I mean, that was something I was expecting. You know, I mean,
Right.
it would mostly just be for fans of FNAF. But what do you all think as a horror movie itself, without the references and stuff?
It's more fun than it is scary.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah.
exactly.
I
Well, can I say
like the animatronics in the games are like a looming threat, and the ambiance is just creepy. Like in terms of the setting, like it's the ambiance is creepy. Then you have the animatronics moving around. They stare you down through the camera feeds, or they just straight up look at you until you close the doors or whatever.
I was surprised that they didn't have the doors.
No, they
Yeah.
didn't.
Yeah, they didn't
No.
have like the doors like they shut and everything, like the buttons you have to push,
Yeah.
and
Mhm.
That's what I noticed.
I mean,
So
I was
wait,
like, why did they do away with that?
so
Sorry.
basically, in the film, Foxy doesn't body slam the door to rob more power.
Yeah, that's another thing. Like, why didn't they just have them like go through the door, like bash through the door, and like. I was kind of expecting it to be like them being chased around. I mean, I know, like, I mean, it's a horror movie, and you don't want to have the whole movie just being them being chased around the pizza place. I mean, I like the story layout and everything. I just wish that they had more of the lore. Like, I mean, do you guys know exactly what time period this takes place in?
I think it's set in the 2000s, like the movie.
You would
Because
think that it would be the 90s
Yeah,
because the original
I mean,
game was set in the 90s due to the paycheck that you get at the end, $120. And that's a pretty small pay for like today's
Yeah.
economy, but when you
yeah.
think back then,
Yeah.
that's how much you would get.
and what did you guys think of the performances in the movie?
Matthew Lillard like killed it.
Can I just say one thing? I didn't know that the main character was used to be in both the Polar Express and what's that other
Zathura?
movie called?
Zathura,
Hunger Games.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Zathura.
Two movies I used to watch as a kid.
Bridge of
And
the Bridge of Terabithia. Was it in
Journey
that
to the
one?
Center of the Earth,
Journey
the
to
Hunger
Center-
Games series.
Hunger Games series.
Mm-hmm.
That's probably
Really,
mostly known.
Yeah, I
As
haven't
soon
really
as-
seen Josh Hutcherson since the Hunger Games series. I've only stopped watching it at Mockingjay Part 1. It was so boring. I didn't want to bother with Part 2.
Oh, and just to be honest, I only watched toward the end, which is why I had no clue about the rest of the 2/3 of the film.
Yeah, he joined us late. He's a late.
Yeah,
bloomer. So,
but I
Yeah.
am a big fan of the series. I have
I do have you
All
to
the-
thank for introducing me to the series, Andrew.
thank you so much.
Yeah, I haven't heard of Five Nights at Freddy's when you told me about it, like, was it 9 years ago? Yeah, it was 9 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's
Yeah,
by
that's
next
what-
year, the first game will be 10 years old.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And,
Oh my
and
God.
you
Yeah.
guys, and you guys
Mhm.
I mean, if you guys remember in my review, like, it was just a small, simple indie game. Like, did you guys imagine that 9 years later we would get a movie?
Well, can I be
I
honest?
never thought that we
I
would
kind of
get
figured that it
movies like
would.
this.
To be fair, I
Well, you
figured
know-
that it would get a movie, but from what I've heard, it's been in development hell for quite some time.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I
And not
think
to mention-
I think
and
ever
not to
since
mention-
2015, like Warner Brothers did pick up the franchise for a film adaptation, but there's been like some development hell, some conflicts, and
Yeah.
which led to
And
Scott
that-
just leaving Warner, and then
And
Warner
then-
Brothers actually moved on to grabbing an older IP of their own, the Banana Splits, and they turned them into
Oh
like
god.
Yeah.
into horror
Oh
characters.
no, not the banana
God.
split.
Yeah.
Although,
My favorite show when she was little.
here's a little
Just
secret.
between you and me, I have never seen the Banana Splits horror movie. Is it
I
good
have.
or is it bad?
I have
I
heard
saw
about
it.
it, and I shook my head like,
it was pretty
"Why,
lame.
Warner
But
Brothers,
hey,
why?"
you want to see a far better Five Nights at Freddy's horror movie? Watch Willy's Wonderland.
Willy's
It's objectively
Wonderland
better.
is good. Yeah, hell yeah. It is awesome. I mean, Nicolas Cage. Fuck
Yeah.
But like I thought that the acting in this was decent enough. I mean, stellar performances from Mike, especially
Josh Hutcherson.
I mean, Josh Hutcherson. I mean, Matthew Lillard. We didn't get much of him, but he does
Yes.
kind of like when you first introduced to him. Like, I can't help but think about Shaggy from Scooby Doo.
Yeah.
Like being, William Afton. Like that's what baffles me about this. It's like I never thought in a million years.
Yeah, it's like I thought that for a time that Willem Dafoe would be a good choice for William Afton.
Yeah,
Being
that's what I thought.
menacing,
Yeah.
like the Green Goblin and all, but I guess they didn't want to make it too obvious. Like they wanted to have a character that looks so unassuming. But like, I mean, like Matthew Lillard, he's 53, and like now at the time of this recording, like back then, like I think he was in his like late 20s and early 30s when he starred in Scream, and he
Yeah.
was a villain in that. And what's funny is that at near the end of the film, when he's in the Spring Bonnie costume, he just wipes the knife with his hand,
Yeah,
like
like
he
he
did in
did in
Scream.
Scream. Yeah, I noticed that. Like that's a nice throwback, actually.
Yeah.
I mean, it just
Yeah.
I mean, it makes me want to see more of him, which I'm looking forward to the sequel. You guys know there's going to be a sequel.
Yeah,
Yeah, we
he's
know.
Matthew Lillard signed on for 3
Can I say
movies.
some-
It's gonna be a
Excuse me.
franchise.
Excuse me,
Yep.
can I say something?
Go ahead.
Yeah.
Well, after hearing what you guys think of the other actors, I want to give props to the child actors as well because they did a very good job,
Yeah,
especially
they did a good job.
who played the ghost children.
Oh yeah.
So kudos to all of you guys.
Oh yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
the acting was decent. I mean, I was even surprised that Matt Pat did a good job in this. And I kind of knew he was gonna do his shtick, like, it's just the theory.
It's just a theory.
Theory.
Yep.
No one cares.
Wait, Justin, I have a question for you. Why does the audience react when they saw Matt Pat?
I'm pretty sure people were like, "Oh my gosh, it's Matt Pat." Game
I-
theory.
And I'm pretty sure they finish up with either a game theory or the style theory or something like
Well,
that.
I mean, I haven't heard anyone, make any references when I first saw it in the theater. Like it was generally quiet. Like there were parents that took their kids to see it. Like there were a bunch of them. Like it wasn't entirely packed, but it's like this was like something that you would take your kids to see. Like the franchise in general is like kind of like their gateway into
Right.
horror.
Yeah.
I mean, for a PG-13 movie, I was surprised about, some of the gore a little bit.
Yeah.
Like
It's not like excruciating, but
Yeah.
like the aftermath is like, oh,
Yeah.
Yeah, a little like
there is
gnarly.
Like seeing the woman get split in half. That,
Yeah.
And I
like
yelled out,
they didn't
"Oh,
just bite her head; they split her in half.
was that the bite of East?
Yeah.
Was that
I
the
yelled
bite of 87?
Also,
87 split.
also there's like probably an R-rated cut they have.
I hope.
So
I really hope. I will buy
maybe
that.
if they do,
Blumhouse,
So maybe
if
it
you
could
watch
be a
this,
lot
Blumhouse,
gorier
if you
than
watch this,
what was
if you-
shown.
if you make an R-rated cut of this movie, I will fucking buy that shit.
It would be uncut, but I'm not gonna hold my breath.
Please release that. I want it. I will buy
or
it.
extended cut of Five Nights at Freddy's.
Because, I mean, I love that stuff. I mean, Blumhouse, I mean, they've had a very rocky track record. I
Like
mean,
most of their like when it comes to Blumhouse in general, like some of their movies hit, some of them miss.
like the recent Exorcist movie, it missed.
Yeah, The Exorcist
that was
Believer is
great.
garbage. Megan, I liked, like with it being a satire of, you know, just toys that you would get your kids to play with.
What happens when you
it's
give
silly.
a child technology?
Yeah.
Kind of like the Child's Play remake.
Yeah.
And speaking of which, I heard that they're gonna put both Megan and Chucky in like a collide crossover movie.
Yeah, it's
Yeah,
I don't
know. But
Mm.
what do you guys think of the fact that they used animatronics rather than CGI?
I'm
Well,
happy.
I'm
You know,
really-
it's better.
I mean, I like how it was made by the Jim Henson Company.
Mhm.
Oh yeah,
Yeah, I
the
was
Jim
gonna
Henson's
say that.
Creature
They've
Shop
done a
really
great
Yeah.
job.
yeah, they really did their homework with those characters.
Yeah.
Like making them as screen
Uh-huh.
accurate as possible.
Yep.
And really, it's the same company that did the Muppets and Sesame Street. You wouldn't think that
And
they would
also the
do
TMNT
something
90s
horror
movies.
related.
Yeah.
Well, they
And-
did. Well,
and-
they did
yeah,
do one
yeah,
for the
like-
Dark Crystal and few.
The
and
Jim
they already
Henson
did one
Company,
for-
owned
Yep.
by Disney, working with Universal and Blumhouse for a video game horror movie. It's it's kind of an odd combination.
Well, it's pretty odd, but you gotta mix it up somehow.
So what things did we not like about the movie?
For me in particular, it's the plot. It's just all over the place.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Like
Look, I mean,
when William Afton, like at the end when he says, you know, I always come back, like it's like
That doesn't make sense in the context. Like
Text.
he's dying from the spring lock failure in his suit after Mr. Cupcake bit him.
yeah,
Yeah, it's like
Yeah.
it's basically
it's like we just got introduced
as if
to
they
this
really
guy.
want a franchise out of it by trying to put a future line in a first movie.
Yeah, it's like, you know, we just met you, dude.
Yeah, like
Yeah.
I'll always come back is always the classic phrase for Springtrap whenever he comes back in different forms.
Yeah.
Like there's Scrap Trap and there's a Burn Trap.
Burnt Trap, and then there's like little trap, like the
And
okay.
there's
trap.
Glitch Trap as well.
Glitch Trap, yeah. So,
It's like Kingdom Hearts when they had the Mayor Harpy or guiding key. But if they make a cartoon or movie out of Kingdom Hearts and he suddenly say that and he doesn't know where it came from, then it's not gonna really fit in that context.
yeah.
Mm.
Another thing I didn't like is just how they mostly focused on the dream aspect rather than, you know, the pizzeria. Like, you know, like I was kind of upset over that because, like,
Yeah,
you
We
know,
want more classic lore and
Yeah.
not something
Yeah.
that's a bit convoluted and
yeah,
you know mixed up. Like Vanessa is not really the Vanessa that you would see in Five
Security
Nights
Breach.
Security Breach. It's just a different entity entirely. It's
Yeah,
Eh.
and that's the thing. I mean, William Afton's daughter, wasn't her name Elizabeth?
Elizabeth.
Yeah.
Elizabeth, yeah.
Like, when did he have a daughter named Vanessa?
I
or maybe
don't.
Vanessa is an alias. They don't really make it clear. They don't say it straight out.
Yeah, and
Yeah, you would think with an adaptation of the first game, you would have a lot more of the classic lore in there.
yeah, like the newspaper
Yeah.
clips, you know, of the
And the
missing children.
animatronics mistaking you for an endoskeleton without its costume on.
Yeah, I mean, the fact that like they just see a child and they're now all good all of a sudden.
I mean, I
don't
get
really
that
like
they're
that idea.
kids, their spirits are possessing the animatronic figures, but they're supposed to be menacing too, you know.
Yeah.
And like, they want to get revenge on the person that killed them.
Yeah.
And after, you know, William gets his comeuppance, you would think that they would be at peace. You know,
Plus
but
at the end,
we
yeah, and plus at
yeah.
the end of the game, like it says that the place burned down.
Well, I mean, and that's the third game. Fazbear's Fright burned down.
However, in
Right.
at the ending of the first game, if you go further with the extra modes, I think Mike gets the red slip.
Yeah, the pink slip.
Slip.
Yep.
Yeah, he gets fired.
Yeah.
Which, as much damage as he's done to, like, he's a terrible security guard, by the way. I mean, all he does is sleep.
Yeah, I agree.
Just, all he does is sleep. He doesn't even bother watching the animatronics. And, okay, let me ask you guys this. You know, I'm not a heavy sleeper, but if I felt something cut me or, you know, something just, you know, like a hook or something go through me, I'm probably going to be awake and alert that maybe the animatronics might have done this. You know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I would wake up as well if I felt that.
I'll
Yeah,
wake up
like,
like
what the fuck?
Oh,
I
don't
wake-
worry
I
about
wake
it.
up
It's just a
from
flesh
feeling-
wound.
Yeah, I would
Oh,
generally
yeah.
just wake up whenever, you know, I just breathe in the wrong way or something.
Yeah.
But I just love to be ironic in some areas.
But, is there anything else to discuss about?
Ooh, the opening. Oh, the opening credits. What about the opening credits? I'm pretty sure nobody ever talked about that.
Yeah, like the way they emulated the 8-bit parts of the
Yeah, that was
the third
yeah.
game
Yeah.
and the second game.
I mean, I'd say that's new. I mean, I think Scott made all that.
Perhaps.
Maybe.
I mean, it was all right. I mean, I've always admired Scott's creativity, like when it comes to that. Like, you know, I could imagine that he probably grew up with the Atari 2600, considering all the influences in those mini games and everything.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
Mhm.
I mean, I kind of expected that was going to be somehow integrated in the movie. Like, you know. But, I mean, I guess I was kind of expecting this movie to be more like the game. But I get why. I mean, it's a movie. It's supposed to be different from the video game. I mean, would you watch a movie where it's just a security guard just, you know, closing doors, shutting doors, and, you know...
I mean, I don't,
No.
I don't mind, you know, bringing in some new ideas, but you also have to make sure that it makes sense.
Right.
Yeah,
Yeah.
in the context of things, it should make sense.
Oh, look who's here.
Oh.
But is that really, is that it?
I think that's
Are-
about everything we
I
covered.
think.
Well,
I don't think. Wait, but what about? I do have one thing to say. Before we go, I really want to see if everybody wants to know what are predictions for the sequel of Five Nights at Freddy's 2.
well, we won't even know until they announce it. And
I mean-
I don't like making predictions. I really don't.
Well, okay, but here's something I want to say. Well, despite everything we cover, what score do we want to give for Five Nights at Freddy's? For me,
Well,
it's 9 out of 10.
I don't give scores for movies.
Yeah.
Like I normally
neither.
just say, you know, if people want to watch a Five Nights at Freddy's movie, like if you're a fan of Five Nights at Freddy's, then you will absolutely love this movie. If you're a fan of horror, there's a lot of interesting things. I mean, I like the claustrophobic feeling you get. Like they definitely did an amazing job with the set piece and everything. Like just being as close to the game as possible and just having that small space. I mean, like, it doesn't have to be a big pizzaplex place, which that's one of my issues with Security Breach. It's a bit too big. But
Like a mall.
but
It's kind of like a
but
mall.
but that aside, I think it's a great horror movie. I mean, I think that the critics are wrong, like the mainstream critics. I mean, they obviously aren't fans of Five Nights at Freddy's. Hell, I don't even think they're fans of horror in general because a lot of the stuff that they say in their reviews is asinine, completely asinine. Like they haven't even watched the movie at all. That's what it
Or
feels
even
like.
play the games.
Or even play the games.
Yeah.
But that's my but
But perspective is key.
but that's
Right.
my thoughts on the movie. Justin, what's your thoughts?
Well, I mean, there are people who hate the movie, and there are those who love the movie. I'm honestly somewhere in the middle. Like, is it fun? Yes, but is it scary? Not really. It's honestly, it's going to, bring up a lot of discussion with fans more than critics. Like fans who either hate or love the movie. Yeah, honestly, I do see, where the fans are coming from when they don't like it. Like, it's not lore accurate. It's all over the place, and the changes, like, they don't really make sense. There are some things that don't make sense in context. But it's like there's like as its own thing. It's okay. It's fun. Like it's I'm pretty much half and half with it. Like objectively, I do think Willy's Wonderland is the better movie. Like you get a lot more Five Nights at Freddy's fun than Five Nights at Freddy's.
Not to say that this movie wasn't fun, by the way.
Right.
I mean, like it
I mean,
has
it's
its
fun
good
in a
parts.
different way.
Yeah. But
Yeah.
Andrew?
Well, I'm not gonna give it a score just yet because I haven't seen the full thing. As I said, I came in late.
By the way, the movie's available on Peacock.
Right.
But tell you the truth, from what I've seen thus far, I love the visual effects of the animatronic. Well, it's not computer, which thank God.
Thank God.
Yeah, it's mostly practical.
Yes.
Yes, and also I love the atmosphere. But speaking of atmosphere, from what I can gather, it kind of looks like it's not going full horror. Like it tried to be a little bit like shooting towards a PG-13 stamp. That they try to balance it a little bit more on it. It's not a complaint or anything. It's just it's what I don't know, but I'm liking it fine thus far.
I think I get what you mean. I mean, it's not like dark, like most R-rated movies. But I think for a PG-13 movie, it does pretty good for what it does.
Yeah, and in my opinion, horror doesn't really have to be like a perspective of a franchise because storytelling can go into many different directions.
Oh yeah.
And it depends on what direction that they go in.
Honestly,
And
I'm
hey,
wondering how is Universal going to make it into a haunted house for Halloween Horror Nights next year?
I have a pretty good idea.
All right, Mr. Crusher.
They know what they're doing.
Mr. Crusher, what is your thoughts on the movie?
I liked it. It was pretty good. I did like the opening credits with like the 8-bit stuff that almost felt like something out of the games. And the acting was pretty good. I mean, Matthew Lillard, even though he had little screen time, he pretty much killed it along with like Josh Hutcherson. I think that's his name, right?
Yep.
Yep.
Oh, all right. I like it, but I honestly wish there was a lot more time with Matthew Lillard as like William.
Yeah.
Although I didn't like how they decided to make the animatronics like a little friendlier. Like
Right.
during the whole
Like it
middle of the movie,
demystifies them as a threat.
Yeah.
Exactly.
it just didn't really feel right. It just kind of makes them feel more ruins the whole thing how in the games they would kind of see you without an endoskeleton on, like with an endoskeleton on instead of like being like all friendly and such. Which, look, I get it's an adaptation. Like adaptations are going to be different than the source material, which is I can understand, but I really prefer they should have gone like the whole thing instead of them making friendly, you know?
Right. And Naya.
Yeah.
Well, from what I've seen the movie, it's it's not as scary as most horror films that I've seen. I think it leaned on towards like family friendly type of horror, but with a little PG-13 on the side. So 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 that's really it's really cool to see the animatronics, how they move, how they interact with the characters. I even enjoy seeing like the scenery, the atmosphere, and the sets. It's just beautiful. It's just really cool to look at. And at the same time, the characters, the acting in those characters are very good, and they're very interesting, especially with the child actors. They've done a great job doing that. However, the one thing that caught me off is the plot. It's just too much going on, along with with the dream sequence and the pizzeria sequence, and each night to go what's going on. It's just too much. But I just hope they'll tone down the plots just for a little bit. But overall, it's a fun movie, but not as scary. But it's a scary slash fun type of style. Then I think I think this is a great way to introduce like older kids to horror. So that's all I have to say.
Right. So, I guess that's all we have to say about the Five Nights at Freddy's movie.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's been a
Mm-hmm.
long time coming, and I'm honestly glad it delivered on what I expected it to be. But nevertheless, if you guys enjoyed this and you want to, you know, check out my friends' channels and everybody else, I'll have links in the description. Uh, I am going to upload this video and I'll see you guys next time.